All righty, everybody. Well, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you're watching us at. Hope you guys are all doing well. Had a profitable, enjoyable weekend. Thank you for joining us on the Monday Note webinar. We'll get rocking and rolling here into it. My name is Scott Carson, known as the Note Guy. For those that are new on the calls, we have these basically every 2 weeks, every 2 Mondays, or every other Monday. Excited to have these. We've been rocking and rolling since the first of the year again, and it's always productive. So thank you for logging in on time. There are 100 phone lines. We did have 200 plus people register for it. So the phone lines are filling up fast. As always, give you an idea who is on the call. We've got some new real estate investors. We also have some of my coaching students. We also have people that are new to note investing. As I said before, these calls are recorded, and they are free to anybody out there that wants to. If you want to share your invite, you're more than welcome to, and go from there. So, good morning, Kimberly. We will get rock and roll. You guys will have plenty of time to ask questions throughout regarding notes and the topic. Please, though, keep your questions that you're entering relevant to what's on the screen. As I said, there's plenty of time to ask questions at the end regarding any type of note topic. But if you do have a question, please keep it relevant to what's right on the screen, and that way it keeps us on track and me on track more than anything else. I'm going to get interrupted for questions that aren't relevant for what's going on. So these are being recorded. They will be uploaded to hopefully YouTube again. For some weird reason, I've had my YouTube account suspended for a little bit, so we're going to get that up. These will be uploaded to Vimeo, and I'll be sending an email out to everybody registered with a link to be able to share that. So. Right. So you can connect with me on Facebook, YouTube, once that's up and running again, and LinkedIn. So please connect with me in those areas as I'm always updating and notifying new announcements, new events, new deals as well. So if you are looking for deals, now is really definitely the time for you to go to notematchmaker.com and register your top 5 markets there, notematchmaker.com. If you've already registered here, you're good, but if you're new to the webinar, go there. There will be deals sent out this week regarding that. Actually, Kimberly, I'll be sending you all the due diligence on that one file. Just finally got it in from the custodian, so I'm excited to get you that. Anyway, let's get rocking and rolling. First of all, there are 2 events that are up and coming that you may want to make a note. If you're in the central part of the country, you may want to attend the St. Louis Real Estate Expo. It's this coming Saturday and Sunday at the St. Charles Convention Center. Tickets are available still at stlrealestateexpo.com. That's stlrealestateexpo.com. They've got in advance tickets at $75 for regular general admission and then $125 for VIP. So I believe there's to be about 200 investors at the event. Based on what they've told me so far is what's registered. To get kind of a funky schedule, so I don't believe the final schedule online is what it's going to end up being. Robert Allen, Ron LeGarner speaking there along with me, so I'm excited to be there. And the following one, if you are looking to learn more about notes, I do offer workshops as well. My upcoming workshop, even though I just wrapped up my Baltimore class, I guess now 2 weeks ago, I have one that's coming up April 10th to the 13th, taking place in Atlanta, Georgia. It's $7.99. That's 2 for 1. You can bring your spouse, a partner, somebody else at your local investment club that wants to come to it. It's going to be taking place at the Sheraton Gateway Hotel there, and you can register for your seat and your spot at weclosenotes.com. Along with that $7.99 registration is access to the online home study course, and we will be posting actually the video from the Baltimore workshop, which was recorded online here this week as well. So if you've got access to home study course, keep an eye out. You'll see an update with the new updated Baltimore workshop. One thing, if you are active military or past retired military, you are able to get a seat for free. Just email me at weclosenotes.com or Scott at weclosenotes.com. I'll be glad to make sure I can comp you into the event. Right? Also, if you've taken somebody else's or paid for somebody else's note training and been unhappy, email me a receipt of what you paid for the training, and I'll be glad to comp you into my workshop as well or into the home study course. Your choice. So that's right. If you've taken somebody else's training and been unhappy, I'm glad to comp you in to the workshop. So just go to Scott@weclosenotes.com, But if you're paying for it at 2-for-1 at $7.99, you can go to weclosenotes.com and register. I do have workshops upcoming as of this point in St. Louis, the one in Atlanta, Austin, Texas, and then one also in Anaheim later in the year. So may add 1 or 2 more. I'm not quite sure on that yet, but I have 4 workshops that are online that you can sign up for right now. So look forward to having. We'll have probably somewhere around 80 investors in Atlanta like we did in Baltimore. So, but let's dive into the topic. So obviously this is a people always call me up and say, Scott, how do you vet your investors? How do you get people that are serious about funding your deals or buying your deals? And it's kind of a process. Your kind of investors fall into 1 or 2 categories. Okay, they're like the Gordon Geckos. They're very serious, can proof up. They walk the talk. You know, they walk it and talk it, and are closing deals every day. Those are the kind of investors you want. You don't want the kind of investors that fall into this category. Well, their problem is obvious. They don't talk the talk. They don't walk the walk. All right? They talk it but don't walk it. Or they've got a problem or they're head up somewhere else. All right? Those aren't the investors you want. Okay? And as that visual says there are a lot of those people out there that are walking around and just kind of making it bad for the people. So how do you separate the two? Okay? Well, it's not difficult to do. It's some very easy, similar steps, but you just have to do this on a regular basis. Okay? And sometimes people don't like to ask these questions. So if you're out there and you've got a deal that you're looking to fund, or you're looking to flip it or bring in a JV partner, we'll just assume that they're all funders. Okay? So the question to ask your funders are these basically. Have you ever invested in real estate before? And you may want to grab a pen and paper and write this down. Have you ever invested in real estate before? The answer is yes. Great. Have you bought notes before? Now, if they've not bought or funded notes before, what are they investing in now? Are they doing rehabs, REOs, tax sales, tax liens, private money? What are they investing in now? Okay. Because they'll tell you what kind of return they're getting now. Because the question is, how are they performing, doing? How are they performing? How are they doing? Should have not put both words in there. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. That's also the question here. If they're not investing in real estate, this kind of goes to that. If they're just investing in 401ks and CDs and IRAs and stuff like that, ask them, how's that doing for you? And do you have a certificate of disappointment? Okay? Is your 401k doing well? I mean, how are your mutual funds doing? Now, this also kind of goes in line, well, how do you talk to private investors? Well, it's kind of the same case. You have to kind of interview people, get to know them. Hey, have you done this before? Because if they said yes, they bought notes before, hey, that makes it easier for you. They're investing currently in real estate. It's awesome. But if they haven't either invested in real estate, it's going to be a little bit tougher to get somebody off the fence to help you invest with you. Okay? You should always ask them, especially if they don't know, or they haven't invested, do you know what a self-directed IRA is? Okay? If they've got a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, great. If they're sitting on the sidelines and it's not doing so well, try to convince them and talk to them about investing in a self-directed IRA. That's usually the biggest step first. Get somebody off the horn to start putting some money in a self-directed IRA. Okay? And all of you guys on the call here need to have a self-directed IRA as well. It's very, very beneficial. I think you can actually fund it up to $6,500 a year now, which is awesome. Okay. The reason you ask these questions is to see how sophisticated, how smart your investor or funder is. Okay. If they've never invested in real estate before, they're probably going to be more of a JV partner. Okay. That'd be the easiest thing. You're probably not going to sell a note to somebody who's never invested in real estate before because they're not going to understand it. And so you don't want to get your hopes up that they're going to end up doing this and then walk away at the last minute. They're probably going to walk away at the last minute. Okay? Heck, I've had people flake on some deals in the last week. Okay? It's quite interesting. All right? Does that make sense, everybody? Anybody else? Anybody have any questions on this stuff right now in this slide. All right, then we'll move on. So everybody, I think, understands that. All right, so it's also important to know, if you're working on a deal, you need to know the deal you're working on. All right, you know the ins and outs of it, the ROI, the profit potential, the return on investment, how's it going to perform, what's the different exit strategies involved, okay? If you were on the call a few weeks ago, I broke down 5 different deals that I was working on, okay? And so you need to know, hey, what can happen? Can the deals change? Yes, the deals can change. Will it always go to? Will you always get a deed in lieu? No. Can you do a loan modification? Yes. Okay. If that doesn't work, are you going to foreclose? Yes. Well, what's the expenses involved with foreclosure? What's the time frame? What's the exit strategies then? Are we going to sell it at full value? You need to have that worked out, because the more information you can provide in the front end, the better it is going to be for you, because you're going to be able to really help separate out the difference between buyers and potential JV partners, okay? A lot of times buyers want the whole pie. They'll pay a fee for it, or, pay a wholesale fee or a bird dog fee or whatever it is, and they'll run with the whole deal. Those that are really seasoned. Some JV partners may be busy with other things. They want someone else to manage the deal, okay? And they want to know that you know what you're doing. And the more information you know in the deal, you're going to make more money staying involved in the deal versus just selling it too. You can make money on the front end. You make money as you're managing it. More money in the back end. It just depends on how you structure the deal. That's a whole different ball game, whole different conference call on structuring deals. Okay, but it's important to know these things. You got to know the deal you're working on, because the more knowledge you have about the deal, you really know that the profits. There's ups, downs, and different exit strategies. Especially the notes. There's multiple exit strategies. Okay. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. Somebody got a question here? Thank you, Michael, for saying yes and answering. All right. Now, one of the things, the more knowledgeable you know in your deal, it will help you move some things. All right. So, as I say, you have to get ready, aim, and fund. All right. You're talking to people, and people come to you and say, "Hey, yes, I'm interested. I like that deal. I'd like to invest. Or I want to be a joint venture partner with you, or a funder with you." The best thing you can ask for is proof of fund statements. Okay. Especially somebody new. Hey, who says they got money? Hey, all right, well, great. Well, send me a proof of fund statement. Send me a statement from your IRAs or something like that. And it's got to be in the last 90 days. I had one person send me copies of checks they got from escrow that were over a year old. I'm like, okay, this $200,000 that you have on a deal, where did it go? Did you spend it all on? That's not a proof of fund letter. Great, I can write out a check that looks like it's professional and say I've got money in the bank too. It was weird. Okay? Like, what do you expect? So asking for statements from your 401ks or IRAs within the last 90 days or once a quarter is a good thing. You can also, what I like to get people to do is actually send me a pledge letter. Tell me how much you're looking to invest. Okay? If they've got $100,000 in an IRA, I don't want to start them off at $100,000. Let's start off at 25 or 50, something to get their feet wet, something warm. Okay? So have them, and literally these are the 2 biggest things. If they won't send you a pledge letter or pledge email, it's simply saying, "Hi, my name is let's say my name is Steve, and I am interested in working with you and investing up to 50, 75, $100,000, and see the attached statement from my 401k, which I'm willing to pledge $50,000 towards deals." That's a very easy letter to write off. Okay, if you ask for a pledge letter or email from somebody and they don't send it to you, remind them once or twice, but we all know it takes like 5 minutes to send a pledge letter. Okay? The reason you want to get a pledge letter or email is from people is if you don't have your own money, these are letters to show your people that you're buying these deals from, hey, that you do have funding. Okay? Your pledge letters should probably be updated at least once every 6 to 12 months as well. Okay? And ask that. Actually, ask the people that are sending pledge letters, ask Rick or Ron or whoever sent the letter to you, hey, go ahead and put on the date. Can you put a date on the letter and tell them and label how far that letter is good for? If it's good for 6 months or 3 months, and a phone number that my sellers, the people that I'm buying deals from, can give you a phone call just to double check it. That's a very important thing, because you'd be surprised. I've gotten pledge letters from people that when I called and talked to the actual funding source, they're like, no, I didn't pledge that, or no, I'm no longer working with an individual. Okay? And please, if you get a pledge letter and your investor's not working with you, don't be using that pledge letter. I had somebody call me, literally, this is funny. I used to be a mortgage broker, and I had a lady that called me back in 2007. We did some loans for her, and I sent her a pre-approval letter. So, yeah, we're doing loans for you. Here's a pre-approval letter. It was a hard money lender, a private lender. I said, you're more than welcome to use this for a while, but, hey. Well, she was using that pre-approval letter for 6 years. I get a letter from, hey, can you tell me if this person's approved? I'm like, yeah, no, I don't do that anymore. That letter's 7 years old. It's not active. And I send them an email. I'm like, listen, hey, blank and blank, you should not be using the letter. I'm no longer a mortgage broker. I'm no longer in the hard money business. That letter is no good. It's not liable. It's not, you need to get a different letter now before I call and tell this person that, hey, this is not working. You know what I mean? David asked a question, asking regulars, can we set up the pledge letter online requiring a login for them to download or even e-sign? I mean, you can set up a pledge letter where you can send it out to them and have them e-sign if you want to, David, but, ask them for it. Because if they're going to you don't want to spend 30 minutes sitting writing up a pledge letter if they're not going to sign it. Simply just having them drop you an email with a recent statement is good enough. Okay? Get them to do that. Make sure that they email that stuff to you. Then if you want to create something a little bit fancier or put it on their letterhead or off their website, stuff like that, then write that up and send it back to them to sign. But honestly, get them to send you the simple email and a bank statement. That's exactly. You want them to take the initiative to separate themselves. If you do all the work and they don't sign it, well, you just wasted your time. That makes sense? Cool. Good question, though. Okay? Good question. All right. So you got a pledge letter email from them. You may even want to have them wire money in escrow. I've actually had people come by and give me like checks. I'm like, whoa, I don't want this check. Don't give me the money here. I don't want to go to Mexico on vacation yet. You may even want to have them wire the money to an escrow account. Maybe you're working with a real estate attorney. If you're getting ready to close on a deal, have them wire that money to escrow so it's sitting there. It's not in your name. Okay? If you want to do that. Now, sometimes, especially notes, that you may not set up an escrow. Maybe they wire money directly into the buyer source. So that's fine. Or they wire it to your escrow account, especially if you're bringing on a deal that they're funding, purchasing. Maybe it's buying from you. That's fine. Okay? There's multiple ways to do it. All right? There's no, the wrong way to do it is wire it into your personal account and start spending it. I have them wire into your business. If you got a separate account set up for this stuff, that's fine. You don't want to commingle funds. This is something that we do. No, we don't commingle funds. We basically have a separate escrow account for this stuff. Like wire it in. Usually it gets wired right back out. Usually within 24 hours. Okay. All right. So, but you ask them to, you talk to them, you interview them, you find out if they're investing in stuff. They sent you a letter, an email, their bank statement. Okay. Now, one of the things too you have to keep in mind, if they send you a statement from like a self-directed IRA company, there's going to be paperwork involved with that. Okay. And each self-directed IRA company is a little bit different to work with. Some are easier than others. Quest is pretty easy to work with. Mid-Atlantic is pretty easy to work with. Right? So Mid-Atlantic wants you to start calling them immediately so they can start prepping everything because they know stuff's going to take some time to fund. Equity Trust might be the biggest pain in their ass to deal with. All right? They're not the easiest to deal with. I'll just tell you that. A lot of funds won't accept your bids if it's with Equity Trust. It's just the way it is out there. But other companies out there are pretty easy to deal with. You can also look at getting a self-directed IRA LLC. You just have to be careful with that because that type of account is actually one of the hottest flags for the IRS to start looking at, making sure that you're operating it properly. Now, if you get a self-directed IRA LLC, you may want to give checkbook access to your accountant. Okay, would be a good, or your real estate attorney. Give them the access where they can write the checks out for you. It just makes it a little bit easier. They can keep track of that stuff. That makes sense? Yes, you're on the account, but you may want to also give them so that they're handling the paperwork and keeping your assets out of a sling. Okay? Question? David asked the question, if an investor doesn't have a self-directed IRA, is there a go-to servicer custodian that you would send them to? Yeah, I mean, Quest does a really good job with Nathan Quincy Long here in Texas, Mid-Atlantic IRA, IRA Services. There's a variety of different companies out there that do a really good job with self-directed IRAs. I honestly would avoid Equity Trust, but everybody else is pretty easy to do with. Okay. If you go to an investment workshop or an expo, you'll see different IRA companies there. I usually like to, on this case, I want to go with somebody who's going to have better service versus just being so huge. Okay. That makes sense, David? Dan asked a question, any comment on IRA club? IRA clubs, are you talking about like a group of individuals of IRAs that get together to talk about that stuff, or going to a event that IRA companies, what do you mean by that? Oh, no, I don't deal with, I haven't dealt with an IRA club then if it's a trust, it's a business, no. Never dealt with that, Dan, so I can't honest on that properly. Okay. Hang on here. You can also go, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Bob gives us a good list of IRA custodians. You can go to IRAlending.com /IRA-self-directed.com. But yeah, IRAlending.com. It's a good list. Thank you, Bob, for that. All right, hang on here. Lauren, you're right. Okay. There are some proof of funds company sales sites that will create a proof of funds letter for anyone without needing any verification. If I ever run into pretenders with this? Yeah, I have actually. And that's kind of brings me to my next point. Lauren, you must have ESP, because there was a company out there providing. Well, let me, before I get into that, hang on here. Greg asked the question, a separate LLC would be best when dealing with JV deals, but is it possible to work with your own LLC and have a good contract and send them a check out of your LLC? Yeah, that's fine to do that, Greg. You want to do that, have a good contract. Yeah, especially in investing, it's mostly contracts or joint venture agreements. I always like to have, hey, feel free to have your attorney look at the JV agreement. If you don't like it, that's fine. We can edit it, tweak it. Okay? Pretty self-sufficient. That's fine. If they sign that and then they wire money in, or you use checks out of your LLC, that's completely fine to use it, Greg. The biggest thing is getting, if you're waiting for investors or how to vet your buyers, vet your funding sources, is to have them do a little bit of work. You got to interview them on the front end, and you also have to get them to send you their pledge letters, pledge emails, okay? The biggest thing is you're doing all this work. If they're not going to send you a proof of fund letter or a pledge, they're not a real funder, okay? A pretender. Do not waste your time. If they won't give you 5 minutes on that, don't waste your time on it. Don't go back and ask them 12 times for it, because you're just really wasting. Keep moving on and find somebody else, okay? You don't know if they fall into that category or they're the other type. All right? Some of the other things else to keep in mind. You always want, if you got a deal, hey, try to get first come, first served. All right? Now, there will be things that pop up, like I'll give an example. Paperwork delayed from a custodian. All right? That can happen. It may take them a while to pull paperwork. That's happened to me on a couple deals. All right. You just have to communicate. Hey, we're getting paperwork. I appreciate your antsy to get rock and rolling, but let me make sure and get this cleared up. I want to make sure the paperwork's perfect for you. Okay. But don't sit there and waste. You also, one of the best things that most investors do not do is you don't use the marketing of a good deal to build a feed to friends. Like, I don't have any money in private investors. Well, are you out marketing the deal? Well, no, I didn't market it. Well, what do you expect? You just expect to sit there and pray and hope that God sends somebody to your front desk? God gave you fingers and a mind. Go out there and market it. I do this all the time. If I get a really good deal, I'll do some extra marketing on it just to build more private investors. Okay? Would you rather have one investor with no backup, or would you rather have 5 and 6, 7 and 8 investors sitting there ready to fund deals for you, okay, as backups? All right? Hey, I guarantee somebody, if I post a video of a deal and I get 4 people to respond, the first person that can, A, send me a pledge letter, send me a proof of funds, okay, you're pledging to this deal. The other 4 or 5, listen, I appreciate it. Can you go ahead and send me the pledge letters? I've already got somebody who's beat you to the punch. I'll keep you in backup, and would you mind if I contact you for future deals? What do you think they're going to tell you? No? They're going to say yes every time. All right? But you can use simple things like Animoto or YouTube or even Postlets to help get the deal up. All right? You may also want to ask for somebody to put money down. Maybe they wire $5,000 to an earnest, or $1,000 down or something like that. Hey, would you mind dropping money into an escrow account? Okay? Just so that I know you're serious, because I got 5 people here that are very interested, and especially if it's somebody you haven't worked with before. That's very important. If somebody you haven't worked with before said, listen, give me a little money in a deposit. I don't even care if it's your escrow account or with an attorney. Put it into an account so I know you're serious, because the last thing I want to do is give you a deal if you're going to flake on me. All right? Does that make sense? You want to double check your pledge letters, like Lauren was mentioning previous ago. This kind of falls in with pre-approval letters. Especially if somebody says, they're approved for financing, they get a letter from a mortgage broker or hard money that are approved for financing. It's very important you pick up the phone and double check these things. Okay? Somebody sends you a pledge letter that's not in their name or their LLC. Pick up the phone and call the person. Hey, say, can I call this person to double check, make sure we're still good? Okay? Last thing you want to do is have your deal pledged to somebody who's using a fraudulent or fake pre-approval letter. And there was a couple companies out there that are talking about they're actually charging people for pre-approval letters $1,500 a pop, and then they never funded a damn thing. Okay? And they were just basically taking people's money. This was on big commercial deals a few years back. But I haven't earned them in business for a while, which is good. All right? And you got to also be careful, too. If you're out there getting a pre-approval letter from some online company that says, we'll fund your deals and we'll send pre-approval letters, hey, make sure it's still good. Okay? Ask for references. Hey, who have you closed with? Now, we all know things will happen, okay? An investor may still flake, okay? May get cold feet the last minute, or may need to get their money back for things. That stuff happens. That's just a part of doing business. But don't let that stop you. If you all go out and market and talk to the right people and ask the right questions like we've gone through and build up, you'll have a plethora of private investors that want to fund your deals. That's what you want. Be able to pick up the phone, call somebody, and say, hey, I've got a deal. I'm ready to send your way. That's what you want. Questions? David asked the question, how worried do we need to be about SEC filings for these types of investors that we were vetting? Okay. David, the biggest thing about this is most of the time you're going to be talking to people that you are already have met somewhere, okay? Usually a real estate investment club, all right? You should never be advertising interest rate, okay, or anything that's guaranteed. We all know real estate can change, okay? So the big thing about the SEC is they're changed up how they do their crowdfunding stuff, all right? So I would double check and reevaluate. Don't be sitting here just blasting, oh, I'll give you 12% interest on a deal. No. Yeah, that's where you say you're looking for joint venture partners or funding sources. What I'm talking about is if you have a deal you're working on, it's all right to say, hey, here's the numbers behind it. You can pick it up at 55. It's worth 110. Here's what we kind of expect things to happen. That's fine. But don't come up there and saying, oh, blah, 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 blah. You don't want to be blasting out stuff just to the general public. Okay? There's specific rules you have to go into, and that's a whole different conference call. Okay? If they're going to give you a bank statement and they're a accredited investor, which accredited investor I believe is they make more than have more than $1 million net worth, and they make more than $250,000 in the last 2 years. It's kind of the guideline we go at. Oh, they make more than $250,000 a year, or they've got more than $1 million in net assets. So, all right, that's the way they're a accredited investor. All right. The last thing you want to do is take somebody's last $10,000 or last $20,000 in a deal and invest that. Those people will drive you bananas. Okay. And that's one thing I should have mentioned on the front end. What are they looking to invest? Is this their last $20,000? Do they have more assets? You may even want to ask, say, what's your net worth? Yeah? You're just trying to watch out for them. Any questions regarding this stuff? The idea is if you ask these questions and give them the send stuff, it will help you eliminate. Okay? Lorraine asks, have you or can you put up these criteria questions on the website page to automate the process? Look, don't automate this. You need to have these conversations because anybody can put anything on a website and they'd be lying. But if you ask them the questions, personally, you can tell if they're going to tell you the truth or not. Okay? And it's always best to try to meet with these people in person. Or get them on the phone. Just talk to them on Skype. All right? Don't automate this. Just literally talk to people. You start automating people and just start punching things in, sign stuff. Oh, I didn't know what I was signing. Well, yeah, come on. Don't bullshit me. All right? That's the biggest thing. Talk to people. Now, I travel all the time. I don't always get a chance to meet with people in person. I have a lot of people that call me up and say, hey, Scott, I followed you online, or, I see what you're doing. I'd like to talk about investment. Okay, great. That's when I go into, hey, I don't try to, what are you investing right now? Let's put you in a deal right now. No. Well, what have you invested in the past? Okay. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Oh, I've done this for years. Or I invested this to this. Or sometimes I'll get referrals from other people that say, oh yeah, I got $100,000 to invest with. I've got somebody I know is looking to buy notes. I've closed 12 deals with them. They've bought REOs from me. Okay. Talk to people. Can you have a place on your website, hey, you're interested in funding deals or interested in joint venturing? Drop me an email, call me. Yeah, you could do that. That's completely fine. Okay? But you'll often find a lot of people that have little money and little time to do that. Okay? So your best is always to be out networking and talking to people. Okay? Don't outsource that aspect. That's one of the most important things that you guys can do. All right? What are the questions? Now, references can be somebody's real estate attorney, can be somebody they've closed deals with. Maybe they haven't used their own money, but like calling, hey, well, we've closed with Gemini Capital Partners, or we've closed with Condor or Granite. Well, great. I pick up the phone and say, hey, have you closed with this guy? This is such and such with Blank Inverse Investments. I'm calling regarding this guy who put you down as a reference. Has he closed anything with you? Okay. If they've closed things with people, it gives me a lot more leeway. If they've never closed, I do a lot more due diligence. Okay? But if they have closed and they've dealt with a reference or two that I know, hey, I'm fine with that. Okay? You know, if they haven't closed on their note deal, but they give me their title rep at a title company, I can call them and say they close deals. Oh, yeah, they close all the time with us. Great. I like that. All right. Questions? All right. David asked the question, even if they are not an accredited investor, can they still fund a smaller deal if they have some money and it's not their last deal? Of course they can, David. Of course they can. Still fund a deal. That's why it's more important for you to ask those questions, maybe create a flyer up that you have them fill out, and then you email it to them. If they fill it out, sign it, send it to you. Okay? Yeah, of course. Found plenty of money people that weren't technically accredited, but they had money saved in their 401k or IRA they were looking to invest. Okay? But it's important that you ask those questions, you know. Have you invested in real estate before? No. Okay. You know, maybe we should get you a self-directed IRA. Maybe we should do a little education. Okay? That way it makes it a little bit easier for you. Okay? Where are you getting the money from? Your credit cards. Okay. Oh, 0% interest for 3 months? Oh, yeah, you don't want that. You don't want to get somebody sending you money off a credit card line and then they start, oh, my God, the payments at 0% interest are killing me. That can happen. All right? You'd be surprised. Okay? But if you're doing the right things, you're going out and you're underwriting the deal at first. Okay? Can values change in a property into a deal? Hell yeah, they can. Okay? They sure as heck can change. That's why you're going to be doing multiple deals to help offset some of that stuff. Hey, this deal didn't close quite as well. Or, hey, the values have dropped. Let me put that money into something else. Okay? All right, I'm just going to transfer your ownership from this one deal to another one. Is that okay? What do you think your investor's going to say? Hell yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching out for me. Okay? It's very important that you do that. What other questions? I know there's got to be more questions from you all. I'm sure you're typing it. Okay. All right. Well, it didn't look like anybody else has the right questions, so let's move on. Questions about anything else? Whoops, we had a question pop there just to give me time enough to get enter to it. Okay. Wow. All right. What about explaining the exit strategy from? That's Steve asked a very good question. What about explaining the exit strategy from? It's important to explain the exit strategy. It's like I said in the beginning. Hey, here's the exit strategy. Here's what route we're probably going to go. There are multiple exit strategies along the way, and things can change. Like in the nuts, you may have something that's dragging out foreclosure a little bit. You thought maybe they borrow or do a deed in lieu at first, but then they've gone silent. Yeah, okay, let's work on that. All right, talking what's going on is definitely important. Okay, Nicole. Let's see here. If you're making decisions for someone, whether they are accredited or not, it is a security as defined by the SEC. The only way to get money from them is to do a personally guaranteed note, and your company cannot be mentioned. You're borrowing someone, personally. Just wait, hang on a second. Do a personally guaranteed note. Nicole, it just doesn't sound right. I mean, you have to be an SEC attorney. If you're joint venturing on it and you guys are making a decision together, stuff like that, you may want to double check on that because that's yes, you can be offering security and stuff like that, but personally guaranteed, there's a lot of non-recourse loans out there that aren't personally guaranteed. Let's see here. Questions from somebody here. Steve, yes, you got a good point. What about the time frame required for the return? Do you need to have matching expectations? Yes, that's huge. I'm glad you brought that up. You have to set expectations right in the front end. Hey, this could be 6 months, but it may drag on to 12. Just depends on where it's at. Like if you're doing a foreclosure process, if you're investing in New Jersey, New York, you don't want to say 6 months because of the fact that it could take 12 to 24 months. You don't want to, if it's in Florida, it may be 6 to 12 months foreclosure, depending on the process is. If in Texas, it's obviously going to be a faster foreclosure process. So depending on where it's at, that's kind of explaining the deal on the front end. This is going to take a little bit of a while. And, hey, things can change, obviously, but that's explain that stuff along. Well, do you want to stay in this, or should I refinance you out or get your money out? All right. Let's see here. Okay, thanks for bringing that up, Steve. Well, hang on, everybody. Let's go through these. Stephen asked the question, any reason why you don't want to go private equity? Would it make a much of a difference from how you work with investors now? We're in the process of putting that together, Stephen. So we are putting together our own, Schedule E, a private placement memorandum to do that. And it will change how we do some things. But I still have investors all the time that bring us, jump in, and get there. So it'll be a combination of both. Just depends on the deal structure. Scott, do you use an NDNC, non-disclosure forms when flipping notes? Yeah, I do. NDNC is definitely important. You have a non-disclosure agreement to usually sign. I mean, if you've worked with people before, an NDNC is not really, what are you going to do, sue somebody that went around you? Not. Okay. Is it a good thing to maybe have people sign? Yeah, of course there is. All right, question here. Let's see, from Mike. Hey, Mike. Hope you're traveling and staying warm. Do you recommend working with only one other person per JV deal? If I want to buy a group of notes at a discount with two others, or to do separate JV deals, how would you structure it? Yeah, I would try to keep one investor per one deal. I mean, if you've got a group of 3 notes and you're funding one of the deals and they're funding one of the deals and you're funding one of the deals, we're working together, that should be fine. Okay, but have it fund separately. Don't want to take 25 and 25 and 50. It's a $100,000 deal. Try to split it up. Okay, you're going to do this one, you're going to do this one, you're going to do these 2. All right? Keep it clean. Talk to your real estate attorney about that because you don't want to be pulling people's money and take stuff down. Nicole has a comment. If you are both making the decisions, then it's not secure, but you are making the decision for them, it is. I completely agree to your earlier comment on there. Yeah. That's why I like doing JV deals. Okay? Yes, if it's a security. I'm sorry. Somebody asked a question. I got sidetracked here. Private equity, we're doing different things. That's why we're getting security and registered with the state because we'll be making all the decisions on them. But with private equity, we're working one-on-one with people or, one investor funds a small deal. We keep them in the loop. Hey, here's what's going on. Here's the BPOs. Here's all the stuff for you so that they're involved in, hey, this is going this way. Do you want to change it, tweak it this way? All right. When you do NDNCs, do you do them by the deal or tape? Usually it's just a blanket NDNC. I'm not going to have them sign a new piece of paper every friggin' time. That'd be way too much. It's usually a blank one. It's a generic way to cover any sources. For a time frame, I say 12 to 24 months. Anything beyond that's really getting too far, too long. People have relationships. Okay. The idea is that you want to have some stuff to do it, but keep it simple. The KISS method. Keep it simple, silly. Keep it simple, Scott. Don't overthink some of this stuff, but some of the stuff has been probably pretty common for you. Okay? So the engineers out there that like to just cut everything up and side swipe everything and notate everything, come on. What would you want to do? Do you want to sign a piece of paper for every deal or tape? No, you want to just do one generic blank one. And that's what you need. Okay? Make sense? Okay. What other questions do you have, everybody? That smells good. Getting hungry. It's lunchtime. Anything else? I mean, the more you talk to people, you know, if you get more of the stuff on the front end, you're going to have less people flake on the back end. And are you still going to people that flake on stuff? Yeah, that's going to happen. You just got to be prepared with B, C, and D. All right? Maybe your A source just, hey, got cold feet. That's fine. It's going to happen from time to time. You want to make sure, though, one of the biggest things one of my favorite quotes from a buddy of mine, Greg Reed, who's an author and speaker and film producer and does a lot of stuff out there with the Secret Knock and a lot of the charities that I work with. He says, you want to seek counsel, not advice. Okay? Counsel is going to be from people that have been in your shoes before, who are out closing deals. Advice is going to be from people that have never done what you've done. All right? And what happens, unfortunately, a lot of us get advice from people that are close to us but have no freaking right to be giving us advice. They've never done it themselves. They're just going to look at the negative. Okay? All right? They're never going to do it. Just you have to seek counsel. Don't ask for advice. Steve asked the question, are hard money lenders an option? What rates and terms? I see more and more hard money lenders looking to get into a note deal, Steve. I've yet to see really anybody that's funded anything. Now, they do understand the note business because they've been creating paper and creating notes on their hard money deals. So they understand creating a mortgage. But a lot of them just can't seem to get grasp their mind about, I'm buying the assignment. Okay? And most of them don't want to be on the hook for 6 to 12 months and then foreclose. They want to be in it much faster because that's where they're making their money is off the points. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if you see people that will want somewhere between 3 to 5 points and somewhere between 12 and 18% interest. Okay, David, 1031 exchange. I'm not seeing anybody do 1031 exchange because they want to know if you have real estate, not the notes on it. Okay, Steve. Let's see what Steve say. NPN Hospital, can you get your hands on it? And if so, I'll get you from the buyers direct. How do you secure their mind by closing anything else besides saying we have contract in place for the note deal? You got multiple questions there, Stephen. The biggest thing I can tell you guys is don't be going trying to brokers. Okay? Just daisy chains just don't work. I had somebody call me the other day. A lady called me up and said, hey, are you buying notes? I know somebody's buying notes. So they got him on the phone, and then that guy was like, well, I have somebody that has notes, and we want to make points. And the only one's like, yeah, I was already 3 people removed from the actual direct source, and who knows how much. I was like, no offense, it's not worth my time. I'm not going down this road, okay? If I get a deal on something, I'm going to look to sell it direct to a buyer. I'm not going to try to go through brokers. I don't mind having somebody out there with one, my note coaching students, brokering a deal, when there's one person removed or between, that's fine. But you start getting in 2, 3 deep, just not going to happen. All right. Hate to say that, but it's the truth of the matter. When you have 2 or 3 or 4 people between the deals, it just doesn't make sense to do. Too many cooks, too many chiefs, not enough Indians. And the POF ensures you are not starting a daisy chain right. No, Dan, a proof of funds just means your people can fund. Daisy chain, okay. A daisy chain is be people that are trying to just move lists along. You're trying to get funds, so you want to make sure you have a buyer who's funding your source. 2 different sources, dude. 2 completely different things. All right? What are the questions? Okay, Wayne asked the question, what is the average percentage should pay from fair market value is less than $50,000? Should I share this info with the investor? Yeah, I would. I'd share what you're paying for. It doesn't mean there's not going to be some fees along the front end, broker fees, or maybe some fee-free time. But it's going to depend on state. Depends on where it's in the foreclosure process. Usually, one of the things that most people like to look at, all right, if it's $50,000 or greater, you're going to be paying at least 50% of value. At least 50% of value, depending on the state it's in. It goes down to 40,000, you're going to pay probably 40%. 30,000, you're going to pay 30%. Okay. If it's going to foreclosure, though, if it's almost an REO, you're going to probably pay closer to 50, 60%. Okay. So it depends on the state, depends on how far along the foreclosure process and stuff like that. Whoops. Excuse me here. Okay. So if it's in Detroit or Ohio, I don't care if it's worth 50. I'm not paying more than 10. Okay. Good question, though, Wayne. Anybody else? Michael asked the question, is the closing statement for a note similar to a HUD-1? No. You don't get HUD-1. Okay. When you close on a note deal, it's more of a business transaction than it is an actual real estate transaction. Yes, it's a real estate investor, you're buying the note, but you don't get a HUD-1. There's no broker fees involved. There's no taxes paid. It's basically just a wire. It just happens a lot of times back and forth. You don't get a HUD-1. All right? Lauren asked the question, I live in Utah. From DistressedPro.com, looks like there's not a lot of inventory. Should I be looking at more hot markets for repeat business? Yes. Hell yeah. All right. If you're looking just to invest in like California, find another market. Okay. You're just trying to invest in your backyard, unless you're living in Florida or near Florida or Georgia. Wait, there's nothing in Georgia. I think Steve McConaughey will agree. There's nothing in Atlanta. It's all for him. All right. But if you're, Florida's a hot market. If I was just investing in Austin, Texas, I would have gone broke a long time ago. Same thing if you're just in Utah. You'll see some stuff occasionally up that neck of the woods, but not much. Okay? So unless you're living down in the southeast part of the United States where there's a lot of inventory, I'd be looking outside your backyard. Okay? Still stuck in the snow in Atlanta. Nice. Let's see, how you recommend selling on a different market? Research it. There's plenty of good markets out there. Research on market trends. The value's coming back. Foreclosure time frames are short. Okay? Maybe it's a place you don't mind visiting. Okay? Maybe when it's cold and you're snowbound in Utah, you can fly down to Naples or Miami or something like that for when it's nice and warm. Wayne asked the question, I've seen land for sale for notes, lots of Florida. Do you buy this as well? Or just houses? Buying notes on raw land right now or lots is not a really good thing. Because it's you got to pay insurance on it and taxes, and it's not, to develop that stuff just doesn't make any sense now. Go with the low-hanging fruit, which is the houses. Houses, condos, that kind of stuff. Nicole asked the question, how do you deal with notes in states with terrible foreclosure laws, like New York, New Jersey, Illinois, and Florida? Well, Florida's actually passed some laws that they help expedite the foreclosures within 100 days. I think Illinois, Chicago's also done that well. New York, New Jersey, I don't buy there unless I absolutely have to as part of a pool. I don't buy there. You just have to get those deals. The way you deal with that is that you get a lot bigger discount on those. You're not paying 50% of value. You're probably paying below that. All right? And go from there. Don asked the question, Scott, I got tape today, and the sender said they will not accept less than 50% of their properties than greater than 50% or 50,000. They're all NPN, more than 12 months, not in foreclosure process. Is that normal? Don, it depends on the state. I think you're talking about a tape of Florida stuff that's been sent out, that they're looking for 50% of the fair market value on assets over $50,000. That's kind of normal, like I just said. They haven't started the foreclosure process. Just hope, you want to make sure in the area that the values are accelerating, appreciating. Okay? You'll see that happen, Don. It just happens. If you want to send me the list, I'll be glad to go through the list with you, help you pick out a couple deals since you're part of the coaching club. Okay? Oh. Yeah, I saw that list too. That list has been from somebody else, and I think it's not them. They don't actually control that list. Well, they may control it brokering it out, but that list has been around for a little bit. I've seen for somebody else. All right. 50%, yeah, that's pretty normal on some of those assets. It is what it is. Maybe pick an asset out or two and go from there. Okay? I mean, paying $25,000 for a $50,000 asset is still not that bad. All right? especially if the property's in good condition. That's when you're going to definitely want to get a realtor, somebody involved to go out and drive by the property, or a BPO company like Valuation Vision to go out and give you an external BPO. Okay. Good question, Don. What else, everybody? Well, as we wrap up here, as we're getting to right at the hour, I guess that's about all the questions you guys have had. Hang on, another question. Okay, Stephen asked a question. What's your success rate with deed in lieu or cash for keys? You're going to have roughly, are you still 90%? No, it's changed, Stephen. We still get a lot of deed in lieu. We can get a hold of them. It's dropped down. The more notes we've bought, it's dropped down some. Okay, you still can get cash for keys, deed in lieu, if you just get a hold of the investors. But we bought some larger tapes that is taking that percentage down some. Okay. Hey Jack, why don't you just give me a phone call when we wrap up here in the next half hour or so? What do you say? Huh? Okay. Wayne asked a question. Do you have a maximum on HOA fee? I saw Connell with a HOA fee for $450, which I thought it was high. Well, it just depends, Wayne. Where is it located? Are they doing a regentrification? Are they is it a special assessment? $450 on an HOA fee for a condo is not bad. Well, Florida, it's normal. Are there amenities? Is it on the water? Location, 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 man. Okay? 5 miles from the water. Okay? It depends on the building, Wayne. There's so many different things that go along with what's involved with that amenities. Okay? David asked a question. What's the best way to update? It's the same number as before, Jack. Anybody's interested, it's 512-585-3810. 512-585-3810. Okay. Let's see. Laura Ann asked, what's the advantage of the workshop beyond the home study course? What's the advantage of the workshop? Man, it's 4 days of pure content. I bring in speakers. I bring in, well, it's not just speakers. I bring in market professionals, hedge fund guys. Like I'll give you an example. We had an apartment expert come in Baltimore. We had 3 hedge fund guys that came in, talked about deals, brought some lists in. We brought in a servicing company, help answer all the exit strategies and servicing stuff. There's a lot of stuff. Even around the home study's got some stuff, their videos on that, but it's always nice to be present. Hell, just networking with the 50 to 80 investors that are there. That's worth it alone. If you come to the workshop to stay all 4 days, I give you the list of everybody that showed up. Okay? Let's see here. David, if markets had changed, I sent an email out. I'll be sending an email out to the database, and if you just click update your preferences at the bottom of the email, I'll help you change that. Okay? Typical amount I offer cash for keys, no greater than usually $2,000. I try to be at $500. Okay? But $2,000 is the highest we'll go. Okay? You got it, Jack. All right. Great, everybody. Well, as a gentle reminder, everybody, the next upcoming events, April 10th to the 13th in Atlanta, Georgia. As I said before, it's 2 for 1. It's the Sheraton Gateway Hotel. You can reserve your seats at WeCloseNotes.com. As I said, if you are active or past military, you get comped in. All right. When things don't go right, which they can and can't, just keep calm and invest on. I think I'm going to get a T-shirt made with that. And start selling those things. It's obviously something funny out there. Let's see here. All right, great. Let's see here. What else we got? I look forward to seeing you in Atlanta too, Steve. Looking forward to it. Actually, Steve, drop me an email. Let me know exactly, because I think you're probably bringing your son-in-law and anybody else. If you have anybody else you want to invite, please just drop me an email with their information, Steve. Okay? Hope to have you at the conference too, Stephen. Off-air question, what happened to my YouTube? My YouTube feed, I don't mind bringing it up. For some weird reason, my YouTube channel has been shut down right now. So I'm trying to. I got a weird email that somebody had messed around. Maybe tried to. I don't know if somebody tried to load something on there in my account. It wasn't proper. It wasn't anything I did, but I'm going to get that back up because yeah, I got 600 videos on there that I'd like to have. So. If anyone drops me an email and says, "Hey, we love your YouTube channel. Please bring it back," I'd be glad to use that. So, anyway, let's see here. Do I plan to talk about taxes and notes? That's a whole other another route to go with, Alan. All right, everybody. I think we're wrapping up for the day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Sign up now for the classes now, so we can start getting a account. We are going to cap it at 80 people. It's up a little bit more. And we're already a good over a third of the way there, and we're over a month and a half out. So we'll see you guys there. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys at the top. Bye.